Mchunu standing by to tell us a little bit more. Manqoba, once again, can you give us an update as to what's happening?
Well, Elvis, the court has now again taken another adjournment here at the North Gauteng High Court as Judge Masipa is deliberating again on the issue of bail. You would know that once an accused is found guilty of a crime here in a court of law, their bail is automatically revoked. So it's now, again, the onus is now on the state to try and give compelling reasons why Oscar Pistorius, after being found guilty of culpable homicide, should not be granted bail. So basically, they're trying now to say that Oscar Pistorius should remain behind, should now be taken or arrested or kept in a prison instead of him being free out on bail. So the onus is now on the state to prove that and give compelling reasons to say that they want Oscar Pistorius to be actually kept in captivity. But what we do know as well is that the defense on the other side want Oscar Pistorius' bail extended. So what they are going to argue, or what they have argued in fact, is that Oscar Pistorius is not a flight risk and that he will not run away. What the state is arguing here basically is that if given bail again, Oscar Pistorius could escape, and knowing that he has done or committed a serious crime and has been convicted of a serious crime of culpable homicide, he could then choose to escape to another country or somewhere else where he could not face his sentence. And they are arguing that in fact, if he is released, there's a possibility that this could happen. They're also saying that there's been rumors that or articles from the media that show that Oscar Pistorius has been out at nightclubs, out enjoying himself at social places, and he's had certain disputes or fights with people, showing that really there is self-harm in his behavior. He even quoted a statement from the Pistorius family where they blamed self-harming for Pistorius' behavior. Here, Nell really saying that he should not be let out, as this really shows that he has habits of self-harm. But again, the defense arguing that Oscar Pistorius has till this point not done any harm to himself. He hasn't even committed suicide, which really shows that he will not do anything, that he will face the trial head on, or his sentence head on. So we are expecting Judge Masipa to come back with a verdict whether she will indeed extend Oscar Pistorius' bail, or whether she will reject that proposition and keep Oscar Pistorius behind bars.
How was the reaction to the judgment inside the court galleries? Was there any oohs and ahs?
Well, certainly what we can say is that we saw a lot of relief on both the side of Oscar Pistorius and the family. We did see that Oscar Pistorius today was not as emotional as yesterday. Yesterday we saw him crying and weeping several times while that judgment was read. Today we saw a much more stronger looking Oscar Pistorius, less emotions. There were no tears from his side. In fact, he looked much more relieved than anything at the judgment and what was being said. We also saw emotions from his family obviously also showing some signs of relief in terms of the judgment and what was being said by Judge Thokozile Masipa. And we know that obviously tonight Oscar Pistorius will sleep much better knowing that he's been acquitted on many of the charges and that he faces a culpable homicide, even though it is a serious offense, but it's still not as bad as that one of premeditated murder. But what we did note is that the Steenkamp family showed signs of frustration. They showed sign of not really being happy with the verdict. We saw Barry Steenkamp really looking dazed in court and really looking confused. And we saw also River Steenkamp's cousin Kim also weeping in court as Judge Masipa was reading out that particular judgment. And we saw a really emotional side to the Steenkamp family.
Now, we had immediate reaction from the social pages on Twitter about people on the outside. Any reaction from the people in court and around there?
Well, people are still continuing to really give their opinions here. We have spoken to a few who are here in court, many of them really not believing the judgment that Judge Masipa delivered, saying that, they believe that Oscar Pistorius should have been found guilty of murder. Some of them even saying that culpable homicide is just not enough in this case for Oscar Pistorius, because he shot and killed somebody in a very, very, very serious way and painful way. Basically, people are still saying that they believe that the judgment was not fair to the Steenkamp, saying that Oscar Pistorius should have gotten a more harsher verdict, and that he should actually do some jail time. But we do know that culpable homicide a culpable homicide could mean that he could get up to 15 years in jail, or he could get a suspended sentence, or even a fine. So we're yet to see which one of those the judge is going to actually decide on during the sentencing. But we do know that Oscar Pistorius' lawyers are obviously going to try and push that he doesn't do jail time in this regard. But we still see mixed reactions from the public outside court.
Now, on day one of the trial, there was a lot of foreign media journalists and a large media contingent. Are they still there, and what do they have to say?
Yes, certainly, Elvis. The media is still out there in their numbers, really trying to get the sense of what's happening here in court and to really inform the world. As you can see here behind me, scores of media, both local and international, have gathered here, waiting now at the door where Oscar Pistorius is going to walk out, waiting for the athlete to walk out so that they can possibly try and get some reaction from Pistorius or even from family members as they go out there. So this case still continues to attract international attention and interest, as we see here with the media that's still here. But obviously we have seen the media kind of subsiding, the interest kind of subsiding over the period as this trial draws to a close. In fact, yesterday we saw scores of journalists outside court. That number today looks to be a bit less than what we are seeing here today. So surely it shows that even though the case is nearing its end, there's still much interest when it comes to the whole world with regards to this issue.
And finally, Manqoba, what's the expectations for this afternoon when court resumes?
Well, what we're expecting now, Elvis, is that decision by Judge Thokozile Masipa, which should take place shortly at around noon. And then after that, we're expecting then a date to be set aside for the pre-sentence hearings. Now, the pre-sentence hearings is where both the two parties, that's the defense and the state, are going to give reasons why Oscar Pistorius could either be given a lighter sentence or if he should be given a harsh sentence. So we're still expecting that period, that process to take place, and Oscar Pistorius and family members could also be called by the defense to try and give reasons as to why Oscar should not get a lengthy jail term. The state is also expected to call the Steenkamp family, Rivers family, to explain how the murder has affected them and what really, how it has changed their lives. So this is expected to take place in about a few weeks' time, and we're expecting a date to come out before the end of proceedings today.
Manqoba, thank you so much for that update. That was our SABC reporter Manqoba Mchunu live from the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria. Now, we did ask him about reaction from people on the street, but let's see in terms of your reaction on the social pages. Let's take a look at your tweets. Let's start off here with Bosco. He says, today's verdict is a textbook lesson in how the law deals only with facts. Hashtag Pistorius. Dean says the prosecution couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Oscar actually planned to shoot Riva. Rene de Klerk says, I was hoping they would make an example of Oscar once again. It seems that money talks and no justice for Riva. Ephraim says, in a democratic country, we can't allow anybody to be tried by the media and publication, but the rules and the rules of court and the court of law. Judge Masipa is fair, says Ephraim. This one from Sevatina says, Masipa J has left herself wide open to criticism that will cast a shadow on her career, etc. if the state appeals and the SCA overturns the decision. Now, these are some of your comments on the social pages. You can keep them coming and we'll read them as we continue.